Perceptive reader, oh, you better believe it does matter. And you also better believe that there are certain individuals, when they speak and tell you, don't do this or do that, you can be sure is no other ulterior motive except but maybe to help you while they're already helping themselves. That's the bit of information I'm about to share with you right now, and I will stand by it. I've already stood behind it with God, and the reason being is because God gave all the tools, you see, and all the knowledge. And what I mean by that is, if you do things in this responsible way, just in this responsible way, to the best of your ability for years, you will find this and that, because I'll make sure that you know. And then when you get this knowledge, guess what you're supposed to do? Then you relate it clearly as to why you're stating what you're stating. Now, with that additional thought, you know how I always like to make a special shout out to the persons who are over 80. Because I told you some of them probably are just getting a kick out of, sitting back with their coffee or what have you. And sometimes wondering about situations. How did this turn out this way? Or why did that person turn out this way as well? And it was because they didn't have the accurate knowledge that if they would have had it, then guess what? They would have came to their own reasonable and wise conclusion. No wonder. And not only do they come to the conclusion of no wonder, some of them have even stated, oh, I would have did a lot worse than just tell somebody they was a jerk. You see what I'm saying? This is what you factor in as someone who judge matters, which we shouldn't just be willy-nilly just judging people left and right or what have you. But I'm giving you these factors because it does matter. See, take this for instance. You know, on my page right now, I play something called Sign and Symbols. And also, you know, if you know, then you know. And so I don't even have to explain much further, but you can always get the help you need by asking questions. You see, have you ever said to someone, help me to help you? And that really does factor in a lot, and it also saves a whole lot of detrimental problems at times. Okay. For example, you know, there are persons, and we use the term, people have their different hustle. And what they're meaning is the different ways they actually make their money. And they realize that in business, shame to say, a lot of us would just like for business to be just straight up, clear cut with light and honesty. And for the most part, people can function like that. And yet, in the world that we live in today, it's actually getting to the point where it's like, if you're functioning in an honest way, they look at you like you're the criminal. Isn't that interesting? Yes, there's been some people who have done it. And then not only did they start looking at them like a criminal, but then they took it upon themselves, what I call, you know, the social injustice warriors over the past decades, that in their effort to try to prove that this person is a bad person, they did all sorts of bad activities against that person. So talk about a major getting out of hand of projection. But this is what was going on, and it got pretty bad. And it got so bad that even within the past year, you see, Mark Zuckerberg wrote a letter. We're in the year 2024. He wrote a letter talking about how he just wished he wouldn't have done certain things when it came to censorship and shadow banning people and things, just expressing their own thoughts on this or that matter. Okay. And I wanted to use an example, but see, I'm going to tell you, it goes a step further. See, I stand by it, and this is what I tell you to do. When I tell you the verify matters, that's exactly what I mean. I know what I'm talking about, and that's why I emphasize it. Anybody else telling you differently, then you know what? They got a problem. I am telling you the right way. I am right before God, and I'm about to give you an example of it. You know, I mentioned about a person's hustle. See, I still realize some of the people that I had to deal with over the years. Okay. And I realize their personalities. And I also realize, because they shown me their actions and leaning towards, you know what? If they don't have some type of safeguards around them, no matter how they smile, they are some people that cause major damage to others, financially, even physically, and would not bet an eye if that person dies because of the result of a machination or a command that they gave. Okay? Let me tell you something. I tell you to ask questions and search out matters and this and that. And here is one of the reasons why I'm stating this now, because in some of these persons and their hustle, see, they're still dealing with some of those persons that I know are just straight up snakes, but they still got deep pockets. And when I emphasize, you hear me sometimes say that this person isn't dumb or that person isn't dumb, you know, it cracks me up how they try to always single it out all the way down to somebody who may have just been a hand or a pawn of the bigger mastermind, even over the mastermind. So when I'm talking persons are not dumb and persons are highly intelligent, I'm not talking about just one individual like they always like to single it out, because I'm telling you, some of the things or experiences that I've had to deal with over the years. Okay, if this person was the only person doing it and they're just that dumb, then they certainly wouldn't have been able to do all the spider web and corrupt espionage and all this other stuff that was entailed with it. No, the person, as you already said, just too dumb to be able to do that. So they're not. So it's more than just that person. So you can just ignore that. That's one of the things that I say, again, you have to ask questions to find out, because it does matter. It does matter. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because I've seen time and time over the years, and the persons over 80 who know me know I speak the truth time and time. Persons, bless their soul, and I say it, good-hearted people, just good-hearted people. But make no mistake about it, once they dealt with a certain world or realm of business and stuff that, you know, that I even had to deal with at different points in my life, since I didn't look the same way or with the same credentials as these other persons, they went right with the flow of what these other persons were doing and saying, having full confidence that these persons were not implementing something that was very detrimentally spiritually, and even in some cases physically. And what one man found out one time is he was having some complications some years ago. This one man was having, you know, some physical complications, and as some of you would say, man, the energy is just being knocked off all in his body. You see, so some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of you, that's why some of you mentioned, that's why you do a lot of meditations and yoga and stretches and stuff like that to get yourself back in alignment. You work out and things. A lot of you know about that. Well, imagine persons that I told you who have access You see what I'm saying? The certain tools, technology, and everything. Look at the movie Minority Report. Tom Cruise is the one who actually, was the major star in that. Minority Report. I recommend you watch that movie, and you watch it during this holiday season. You see just how technology has really gone. You think that's just a movie, don't you? It's a documentary. But the whole point is, there was one person who had access to such type information. And so this one person was actually having an off day one day. Just it wasn't telling anybody, but the energy, the nerves, everything was just jacked up in the person's body. And don't you know, that same day, there was a report, and the man caught it. He caught it, and wonder if it's still around. But he caught what this other person was telling a group of other persons to do. And when those persons actually started right away implementing what that person told them to do, that man know to this day that if he wouldn't have got out that environment, he most likely would have had a serious complication, if not ended up in death. Now, I know what I'm talking about. See, this is the type of stuff sometimes when people who even have their own companies and their own organizations, and they wonder, why did we lose this person? What happened? And then all the persons, basically the puppets and everything else who played a part in it, they're not going to tell you the intricate details because they probably didn't even know why they were doing what they were doing. But that man knew because he caught it. And he knew enough about this person already on how they work. He's seen that person say stuff again when even different groups and honorable people were already flailing and on their way down, so to speak, how you would have never guessed this person would jump on the bandwagon the way that they did. But they did. And if they didn't have some other individuals who were willing to speak the accurate knowledge and the accurate way you should act or respond in this situation, put it this way, some riots would have been even worse than what they were. Some situations would have been even worse than what they were. I know what I'm talking about. So let me tell you today, somebody tell you it doesn't matter what you know or how you know or whatever, and trust the process. How in the world can you trust the process? Well, again, if you didn't use your God-given knowledge and insight, instinct, or even Holy Spirit, then somebody who meant ill and harmful intent to you, it would have happened and you wouldn't even be around. That's how you know that the persons who talk about it don't matter, say that it doesn't matter, they're not for you. Because if anything, they're showing through their betraying of actions, they were just trying to get you up out of there in the first place. Perceptive reader, help me to help you. I know what I'm talking about. And may God, Jehovah, bless your efforts. Take care.